right, so Daboll gets fired, and we're gonna see what happens. My initial reaction here is that I did want him fired, as I said in my other video, mainly to get him away from Dart because I think he's gonna get Dart injured with the way he likes to run his offensive philosophy. And you want to see what you have in Kafka because if Kafka can prove to be a competent head coach, now you got some continuity and you don't have to worry about starting all over again. Do I see there being a big change in the way the team plays? No, because at the end of the day, you still don't have a ton of talent, um, or at the very least, you don't have a scheme that's maximizing the talent that is here. And Kafka's going to be an interim guy, so there's a limit to what he can do. There's hasn't been a whole off season and everything. But what I do expect, hopefully, is less running from Dart, designed running. He could run when things break down, but less designed running from Dart and better game management, right? Better clock management, better timeout management, better moment to moment game management, and hopefully less ridiculous player personnel decisions like not having kickers. So we'll see. Ultimately, do I think Kafka will end up being the next head coach of the Giants in the future? No. This is probably just to see, but I don't. You might see a little uptick in slightly better decision making moment to moment in the games, but you're not going to see a huge improvement, in the play of the Giants. So at the end of the day, I think when the season's over, they're just going to want to clean house of all these coaches, bring in a new head coach, and he can pick his own coordinators and do that. I think Jameis Winston should get the start, especially if Kafka is trying to audition for either the Giants head coach role or a head coaching position somewhere else. He should be playing Jameis Winston, not Russell Wilson, until Dart can come back, and maybe even at least until after the Lions game. And then as far as Joe Shane goes, like I said, it's hard to evaluate him because while you could argue the other talent on this team hasn't looked very good, but is it that the talent isn't good, or is it that the players haven't been developed and that there is talent here? And you can make the argument either way, right? You can make the argument for there is talent because prior to giving away some of these games, like the Bears game, the Broncos game, the Cowboys game, we were winning and in some parts of the game dominating and just couldn't finish. So that seems like it's coaching. On the other hand, it seems like whenever a guy goes down, we don't have a viable replacement. It's always a practice squad guy or a seventh round pick or some other team's practice squad guy. So that's the GM not having enough, not constructing a roster properly. So is it both? Maybe, I guess. That's probably why Shane hasn't been fired yet because they're going to see how the team performs under Kafka. And if they perform better, like win 5 of their next 7, something like that, then they'll probably keep Shane because they'll realize, oh, it was coaching. And if we had had even an average head coach, competent coach, then we'd probably be, we'd at least have 2 more wins. So it would be 4 and 6, and who knows, maybe it'd be 5, and second place in the division. So at least Daboll left us with the parting gift of Dart, who could be the gift that keeps on giving, because he looks like the real deal, although we've certainly said that before and got burned. So we'll see. And I don't feel bad for Daboll because, he's getting paid like $5 million a year to coach the Giants, so he's basically made $20 million in 4 years. But it is tough luck. Like, he spent so much time here trying to coach with another GM's selected quarterback and trying to make it work, and it just didn't. And then he finally gets his guy, which does look like he's the guy, so he's all excited, like, yeah, I get to work with my guy, and then he doesn't even make it through a full season and is gone. And to be fair to the Giants, even if it were working, if it was totally good with Dart, Daboll's still not a head coach. He's a offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach. At the very best. And I'm not even sure how much of Dart's success is Daboll versus just Dart himself. So we'll see what happens. You know, you don't want to say you're super excited about this because it means the Giants are bad, right? When you have to fire a coach in season, it doesn't mean you're good. Um, but hopefully, this is the. It's so hard to say because you want to say, like, hopefully, this is the beginning of a new era and changes. But we said that when Ben McAdoo got fired in the middle of the season, and it wasn't any better with Pat Shermer, right? And when Pat Shermer got fired and Joe Judge came in, and then when he got fired and Brian Daboll came in. So the few differences that could make it, you know, a better outcome is with all those coaches, we didn't really have the quarterback. We thought we kind of had it with Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones never did, even with Dart. Even Daniel Jones' rookie year, he didn't do what Dart's doing. Um, and so we do have the quarterback in place now. And hopefully, if it's not Kafka as the next head coach, we pick a head coach that has had success being a head coach somewhere else in the NFL, right? And those could be the two parts of it that make the next hire more optimistic than any hire we've had since Tom Coughlin, right? Former head coach who's been a head coach in the league and who's won, and he has a very talented quarterback that they can build around, which is more than pretty much any of the other coaches since Tom Coughlin would be able to say. And then, yeah, as far as Joe Shane goes, I mean, right now I'd probably be leaning towards not firing him. I think you need to have a bigger sample size of whether it was the coach or not. And again, there's talent here. There is some talent here to win games. Whether there's enough depth or some other things, who knows? But there is talent here, and if you can get the right guy in to help develop it, you know that that would probably go a long way. And you know, a lot of Giants fans and people are clamoring, fire him, get this. I don't know who they think is out there, like some golden goose GM that's just gonna come in and hit 100% on every draft pick and do all of that. Like GMs miss on picks all the time. I mean, or just forget about picks. They just make weird and bad decisions or things that turn out to be bad decisions all the time. You can't um, judge on hindsight, right? Like, look at the 49ers. The 49ers had Brock Purdy. They were paying him like $900,000 a year. Brock Purdy has a good season or two. They decide to give him a contract. He's making like, what, $50 million a year now or something? And he's been out all year. And worse than that, you bring in Mac Jones, who's making pennies on the dollar compared to Purdy, and the Mac Jones basically looks the same as Brock Purdy. So now you're thinking, well, that was stupid that we paid Brock Purdy all that money. We could have just got a guy like Mac Jones with the way our team is constructed and been basically just as successful. So now is that fan base saying like, oh, this GM is dumb for giving Purdy all that money and now he's just injured and Purdy's injury prone. We should have just right? So GMs make these mistakes and stuff all the time. It's easy to judge it in hindsight, right? You have to judge it at the time of the decisions. So there's no golden goose GM out there that's just going to come in and be amazing at every free agent signing and every draft pick and all of that. And as far as the talent on the team goes, there is some talent here, but I don't know what people are expecting. They want like all pros at every position, right? They want an all pro offensive line. They want an all pro running back, all pro quarterback, all pro, three wide receivers, a wide receiver 1, 2, and 3, a great tight end, great defensive. It's not how it works in the NFL. So you have to have a philosophy and try to have at least dominant players at that, right? So for the Giants, that would be defensive line, which regardless of whether you think that the line is good or bad, they are trying to invest the pieces there, right? They got Brian Burns in free agency. They drafted Kayvon. They drafted Abdul Carter. And these guys, I think, have talent. It's just the coaching is not maximized. The defensive scheme is not maximizing it, right? And then on the offensive side of the ball, it's run heavy and then play action pass. And we actually saw in the Bears game, the play action pass was quite successful. And Scatterboo is a really great running back weapon. Where they have fallen short on offense is not developing an offensive line that can run block well. So that would be something that probably have to be addressed in the offseason. And they have a good wide receiver. They actually have the what is it called? The triumvirate, like what do you call it? Like when the Cowboys won the Super Bowls in the '90s, right? You got the good quarterback, the good running back, and you got the good wide receiver one. So they got the pieces there. I think you just don't have the right chef to make the meal that you need to be successful. And will the Giants get it right with the next coach? I hope so. And like I said, it's a little bit more reason to be optimistic than in the past because we got the quarterback now, it looks like. And hopefully the Giants don't make the same mistake and hire a guy who's never been a head coach before, other than if Kafka looks really good over these next 7 games, because then you can maintain the continuity with Dart. But other than that, they need to go with a guy who's been a head coach before and has had success in the NFL as a head coach. But Brian Daboll is gone. We had the beginning of the Dart era earlier in the season. Now we have the end of the Daboll era here, a little bit more than halfway through the season, and we'll see what era we go into starting next year.